All right, Mike, the dreaded expectations of a coach and a team, right? Last year, I think everybody expected this Princeton team to really go far. You guys made the playoffs, but certainly I'm going to guess when it was over, you look back, felt like it was a bit disappointing for what you aspired to do. Now, all of a sudden, this year, maybe you guys come in, fly a little bit under the radar, and here we are after 3 weeks. You're undefeated. What's been the difference of last year's team compared to what you've seen in this group so far?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying, just in general, anytime you're building something, there's never a shortcut for when you lay in foundation. If you don't lay it right, the house tips over. And so it was just a growth in the process of going through. I mean, when you start really looking at it, not that I won't say the program was totally broken, but there was cracks in the foundation that because of different coaches and different years, and you got all these 3 coaches in 5 years, and so having somebody there to stabilize the program, lay the foundation, have the holes in the foundation sealed, and now we can really get back to building. And we all know in a game of football, especially high school football, it's a team game, right? And so the brotherhood, the teamwork, the togetherness is way more important than how much talent you have. And so while we were extremely blessed to have a group of kids that were highly recruited, we were still building that team, connecting, and it's not just the players. I'm talking about the community, the school. I'm talking about the parents, the fans, teaching everybody how to connect and be one. And so that process was still taking place last year. And we went through some growing pains, but it was a reason why we didn't go to the playoffs in 12 years. And part of those things that we were still building, we were still coming. And so what you're seeing is the benefit or I guess what you're seeing this year, you're seeing us come together as year 4, okay? And all the groundwork that we laid beforehand, we're starting to reap those benefits here.
Well, let me ask you. Obviously, you can tell as a coach when you're taking positive steps.
Mm-hmm.
But as you well know, if you don't win a game here or
Mm-hmm.
a game there and get some big wins,
Mm-hmm.
some of that kind of maybe starts to fall on deaf ears. How critical was it? Go back to week 1 at Hamilton. Late in the game, a second left, you get the game-winning touchdown. Then you trail Sycamore the following week in the second half. How big was it to start with those 2 wins and kind of now you can sense these guys going, okay, we see now, we believe in. We'll get to last week, but how about those first 2 wins first?
Well, I think it's it's a character builder, but when you start looking at the offseason, it was a weird offseason, and between the COVID and then the way our schedule set up, we didn't have a scrimmage, and so we were kind of playing behind a little bit. We did as much as we can, and so I knew we were going to continue to get better, and we'd be better off as the year go because we were trying to be smart with how much contact we have, so we can make sure we wasted the hits in the game and not in practice. And so I knew it was going to take some time to click just because we haven't had any competition versus somebody. But I was confident because this group. Sometimes, man, when you were a coach, and we talked a little bit earlier about the building block, I knew this group was going to be the group that was together and they were going to play. And I knew, even though unproven, there was some talent amongst them.
Now, let's be honest now. I know as a coach, it's easy here on the Monday after to say, yeah, I knew that. But when you haven't beaten a team since 1997, when you're down 17 in the fourth quarter, honestly, was there a time in that comeback, and I'm talking about last Friday at Coleraine, where you win 41-37, scoring the final seconds, and Mekhi Lynn had an awesome down the fourth quarter, great game. But was there a play, was there a moment, was there some time when you said, okay, we haven't beaten these guys in a long time, but that happening, maybe we can?
Well, I'll take you back where the obvious bleak moment was the kick that hit and they score and they go up 17, and you're like, well, shoot, we got to hurry up. And that was my spirit. Hey, fellas, that was my speech to the team. It's like, okay, there are no more mistakes that can be made. We don't have any more room of error, And so, and to answer the other question, I knew once we went down so fast, we went 80 yards in I think 5 plays. I'm like, oh, we got a chance. There's still enough time on there. We still had 3 timeouts. I knew we had a chance, and then obviously once we called the sweep and the sweep pass, then I was fairly confident because it was I think 3 minutes left. I did not have to use a timeout. The momentum was shifting. You could just feel the energy on the sideline, and so again, I commend the boys for holding true.
Is that a program win? You know how you kind of look at one and you circle it? Is that, I know Colerain has dominated this league for so many years.
Yeah.
Was that a program win, you think, for the Vikings?
It was a community win. It was a community win, and you got to. So when you start thinking about the history of this place, Princeton used to be what Colerain was as far as what they were doing, and so people been yearning to get back to some normalcy in that respect, to where they're in the upper echelon of the GMC, and so not only was our program beneficial from that win, it was a community to where you're talking about truly bringing the Princeton pride back, and it's a place like no other, in my opinion, where it is so prideful when you talk about alumni from 72, probably all the way up to somewhere 9 and 10, where it is like they bleed scarlet and gray. So it was good for the whole community.
Now, the good news is you're 3-0. You come off the big win at Colerain. You've got Lakota East in the Showdown this Friday. And I know, it's one of the cautions of a coach. You can't look ahead. I mean, and you know they're 0-3, but they're always a good football team. They had two games, weeks 1 and 2, that they could have won. Ran into a very good LaSalle team last week. What's your message going to be this week to your kids heading into the East game?
Well, I let them celebrate Friday. Saturday, the varsity hat off. JV was here. And then on Sunday, it was a very tough conversation. I mean, we split up the film. We looked at the errors, and coaches and players got a taste of my thought process in terms of, well, this is how we got down 17. And so it was very humbling for all those kids to be riding high, and they get in there on Sunday and they're getting coached up pretty hard. And so our kids will be ready, because I'll make it a point for us to respect. And here's the thing about Lakota East: they are extremely well coached. They have good football players, and they're tough as heck. And so it's going to be a really good football game. And so there's no misconception on our part, and I'm sure not on their part, that either side will be ready. We respect them as a program. Coach Haynes does a phenomenal job coaching, finding holes and links in your defense, and vice versa. They're solid, well-coached defense, and so we know that. We know they tough, they strong, and so you're going to have to come and bring your A game.
Let me ask you a final question. Mekhi Lynn, JV, he talked about last year playing JV and how maybe in the Hamilton game it took him a little bit to kind of get in the flow and to feel comfortable. But boy, oh boy, what a threat he gives you, right? Huge game last week. Passing-wise, I think 191 yards, 3 touchdowns, big runs he's had this year. And obviously under pressure, it looks like he's very comfortable having the ball in his hands.
The brighter the lights, the better he is. And sometimes that you just born with that. That's just within your DNA, and that's a kid, he got it. Now, he's got a ton of things to clean up. He made some critical errors throughout the game that kind of got us to some of those moments. But man, when I just took his plays and just rewatch, and it's like, man, he got better each week. I think he went 19 for 27 for 308 and 3 touchdowns versus a very good Colerain defense, and he got better. And then, like you just talked about, at the critical time in the game, he was at his best. He made some throws that probably haven't been made in a Princeton uniform since probably Johnny Mattress, somebody like that, to where I'm like, it's like I didn't even make some of those throws that he's making. And so hats up to him. But at the same time, he's he's got work to do because there's still too many mistakes, ball securities, he's some misreads, a pocket presence, all those things. But I love the kid, love his spirit, love his energy, and he's only going to get better because this is his third start playing varsity football because we did have 2 seniors at quarterback, and so as he continue on, my message to the team is to peak at the end of the season versus going down the slope at the end of the season. So I'm excited. I'm about the kid.
Easiest question of all, when Coach Daniels goes to Skyline Chili, do you have a go-to?
Absolutely. Cheese conies all the way.
Perfect.